Hola, ¿cómo están? Soy Laura y estas son las correcciones de la composición 2. Let's start, and I will promise I'll try to do it as fast as I can. Let's start from the directions of the composition. And these are the directions of Lección 2, but I want you to pay close attention to the directions. This is specifically what I want to see in your composition, nothing else. And sometimes it's not about a long composition, it's about a good composition saying what I ask for. In this composition, I was looking, of course, for the vocabulary of the chapter, and I was looking for time, where do you activities and the classes, at what time you arrive to school, this kind of things. That most of this part you did it, but there are a lot of problems with the 6R actions that I asked for. And I said it, and now I marked it over here, do not include anything, verbs, noun, or adjectives that we did not see in previous chapters. I want to see if you learn certain things. If you go to the tips to the links that I put always in the compositions, in the, for example, can-do statements, the statements will tell you what you need to know of this lesson. So this is what I want of this lesson. I want you to write and talk about what you and others can do regularly. I want to see if you can describe location of objects, people, or places, for example, with estar. ¿Sí? Mi clase está cerca de la cafetería, or whatever you learn in those things. So this is what you need to look at. It's in the presentation too. So you don't need to wait until you go to see your composition in VHL. You can just do this while you're doing your presentation. The other thing that you need to look at is the rubric and the tips I put. These tips are super important, and it will help you not only in these compositions, it will help you in the midterm and in the final. So make sure that you follow these tips. Always write short sentences, follow directions, and don't translate. And you will see that all these things are happening in just the samples of the compositions that I have in for lesson 2. So please pay close attention. Another thing that I wanted to show you is that never upload. I don't want a composition uploaded, and I don't want you to send me a composition. It's very disorganized and I cannot find things after that. So your composition needs to be in the body of VHL, not any other place. And down here you have the little things with the accent marks and the question mark and the exclamation mark that you need to use. All right? Very well. Said that, let's start with the first one. So here I just want to mark. I'm not going to go little detail by little, but what I wanted to mark over here is that there is a lot of vocabulary that is not, there are not things that you saw yet in chapter 1 or chapter 2. For example, subir. If I give this to a student that is really for the first time in Spanish 101, that student doesn't know that, and that student doesn't need to know that because I didn't teach it. It's not a chapter 1 or chapter 2. Okay? So all these things that I marked, subir, nos deja, tenemos, nos encanta, una vez que mis amigos y yo terminamos de comer. I don't think una vez que was taught in this class, okay? Here I marked it because it's clase de estudio, and I don't really know. That's another translation, things that I said. Don't write it. You don't know what it is exactly? Don't write it. I don't need to know what class. You can put a class that is in the vocabulary of the chapter. Clase de español, clase de inglés, clase de matemáticas. I don't need to know exactly what classes you are taking. If you don't know the word, just don't write about that, okay? This is a long composition. It's an excellent composition, but I had to discount a lot of points because there are a lot of verbs that I didn't teach yet. So I cannot be correcting something that I didn't teach yet. I hope you understand this. I don't want to be rude, and I don't want to be a witch. I want you to understand that I'm not going to correct things that I didn't teach. It's like if you're going to Math 101 and you want your teacher to correct one incredible equation that nobody knows in 101, okay? Not even the teacher. This is not the case, but I do not want you to write anything that you did not learn. All right, so that was an example of that. In the next one, I wrote the over here what the corrected compositions. When we start over here, this is a problem only the preposition. Instead of en, it should be a las. No, sorry. This is a. Oh, sorry, it's over here. A las 10 de la mañana, los lunes y miércoles. You learn when you learn the days that we don't say en or a los lunes o miércoles. We say los lunes y los miércoles if you want, or you can say los lunes y miércoles. El lunes if it's one Monday, or los lunes if it's more than one Monday. Okay? Here I put me gusta mi clase, and gustar is a whole thing. In the directions, I know that I put 6 are action verbs, and maybe you put gustar because you put it as an are verb. If I didn't ask you to write verbo gustar, I beg you, do not use it. 90% of the cases that you wrote verbo gustar, it was wrong because it's not really very well explained in the book. It requires a whole new chapter of study, and that's going to be in 102. So please, please, please do not use verbo gustar, okay? It's not yo gusto, es a mí me gusta mi clase. And then I marked bebo because beber is not in chapter 2, it's in chapter 3. And then it's not yo gusto, but a mí me gusta regresar. So this is completely wrong. So remember, and here it should be a mí me gusta regresar a casa y descansar. I put it around here. Okay. Where is mi día de escuela? Okay. Yo termino mi día de escuela should be. Okay. Alright, and this one, I marked it over here because many of you did not start with the subject. The subject over there is yo. Do not assume that I know that you're talking about yo or you're going to talk about yo. I want you to start the composition always, always, always with the subject. And in this case, the subject is yo. I didn't discount points. I'm not going to discount points for now. But I want you to write all your compositions with the subjects, and it's never redundant. Never redundant. You can put over here, yo tomo 3 clases, el lunes yo tomo español, and it's not going to be redundant. It's going to be actually perfect. Alright? Here, there is no one yo in the whole composition. There's no one yo. And that is not good. Other things that I marked over here is, well, I counted how many verbs you had in this composition, how many are verbs, and those are uno. You repeated tomo, so it's not going to add, you repeated tomo 3 times, so that's not going to add points. Camino is another verb, estudio is another verb. And if we count gustar, it will be 4. And I asked for a minimum of 6. So this, if you didn't get a lot of points on these compositions, it might be because you didn't accomplish the goal, which was show me that you know all these verbs, all right? Leer y ver and cantar are not verbs from chapter 2. I think encantar is. I just don't want you to use it, and that didn't count you points. Okay? I put over here accent marks do not discount points for now. So in these 2 chapters, I didn't discount points for accent marks. But verbo gustar, verbo estar, it requires accent mark, and if you don't put it, then this is a point that I discount, because verbs, if they have an accent mark, you always have to put it. It means a completely different thing if you don't put it. And also in this chapter 3 that you're doing, if you don't put the accent mark on mama and papa, you are saying mama and papa, which is breast and potato. If you don't want to call your parents breast and potato, do not forget to put the accent marks on mama and papa. Okay? Very good. In this one, it starts with a la escuela desayuno. It should be yo desayuno, so always start, if it's yo the subject, start with the subject. Yo desayuno en la cafetería de la escuela. En la cafetería de la escuela. Okay? The other thing are very little things like sociología and another problem with prepositions. En la cafetería, ¿sí? Camino a las clases a las 8 de la mañana en la cafetería. And then cuando, in this case, doesn't take acento, unless it's a question, you don't need the acento. All right? Good job on that one. This one, it has problems, the prepositions, and also words that I didn't teach you, and also problems with agreement. So it's not esta trimestre, but it's este trimestre. Tengo is not a word that we did teach here. And here, clase should be la clase. And then you put the right one, la clase, but over here is wrong. And clase de bailar doesn't exist. It should be clase de baile. Okay? Los lunes y miércoles voy is not a verb that I taught you. And a la clase de matemáticas, I don't need las matemáticas. Okay? Clase de matemáticas. Empieza is not a word, but I think this person wanted to put empieza, which is completely different, but again, it's not in this chapter. Hasta as a preposition is not written that way. It goes with H, but I think it wasn't shown in these 2 chapters neither. Estudio a la mañana, another preposition, and here is agreement, el fin de semana. From this chapter and on, these feminine, masculine agreements are going to start counting. In this one, I'm just marking this because you're preparing for your composition number 3. Because before chapter 1 and chapter 2, we didn't teach that much about agreement. But in chapter 3, we did. All right? This one is about prepositions too and a few agreements. Yo tengo 2 clases los martes y jueves. We do not need any preposition there. Okay? Llego a la escuela a las 10 de la mañana. And then mi primera clase, no o, Baraná, a las 10:30. And here is de la clase. Miro al reloj. Reloj es masculino. ¿Ok? Llevo mi mochila y descanso en la biblioteca. Another problem with prepositions. And this one, again, if I like this composition, I like it a lot because this person was looking for the verbs and for the directions I asked. It's not set as a composition, but it's clearly following directions. So that's how you learn. So you take in consideration the vocabulary that I ask you to use. So we have tomo, we have verbo ser, caminar, tomar again, enseñar, we can count on gustar, es necesitar, desear. So perfect. I like the way this person did this. And used a different, you started with the yo, and then you use different subject, which is another thing that I really liked. Very few things over here. Profesora is not a proper noun, so it needs to say la profesora. La profesora Carlson, and here this person forgot to conjugate this verb. So if you have a subject, you need to conjugate the verb. La profesora Carlson enseña mi clase de español. Gustar, of course, is wrong. It should be me gustan las lenguas extranjeras. And here, necesito estudiar porque trabajo con muchas personas. You need something else because you cannot put trabajo and hablan in the same sentence without something that separates both sentences. So it should be muchas personas que hablan español. But I don't need to know this. I don't need to know any of this because this is not, I didn't teach you that yet. So write very short sentences like you wrote before, okay? Do not try to think in English and try to write it in Spanish. You are not at that level yet. And here I put this because this person wanted to translate pública habla for public speaking and put the word sociology. If the classes that you're taking are not in your vocabulary, don't tell me that you are learning those, that are taking those classes. Just follow the vocabulary, the chapter of the vocabulary, all right? Don't add anything else. And here the same, this is in general very good, but it has these things, desearía tener, that I didn't teach you at all, and nobody will understand it. Me gusta is 3 times over here, so it discounted a lot of points because if you count, oh, here I put the yo, no? If you count, there should be estudio, so we can count with estudio 1, cenar 2, conversar 3, llevar 4, hablar 5. So you almost didn't make it. It's a good composition. It's short and it has the verbs. It just has too many gustar and some other words that we didn't see. All right. I'm not going to go farther. I said myself to set this in less than 20 minutes and I almost made it. I hope you see this. I can check in YouTube and see how many people saw it, and I saw the other one and not so many did out of my 70 students. I wish on this one I have 70 views. Okay? Muy bien. The next one is going to be the lesson 3 that you have to see before the midterm exam. Bye-bye.